Well, hey, Amber, I appreciate you meeting me here this morning at the 360 Brunch House. One of the reasons that we do these Cup of Joe segments is we're trying to make sure that employees from across the organization get a chance to meet employees that they might not otherwise come in contact with. And with you being a firefighter on shift, there's a good chance people haven't met you or haven't met you yet. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, your name, how long you've been here, stuff like that.
All right, my name is Amber Campbell. I've been with Mansfield Fire Rescue since January of 2022. Prior to that, as a background, fire and EMS has been interwoven in my life for the last 20 years. So I took a interluding point in my life. Gosh, that lasted more than an interlude. It was almost 12 years. It was like 11 years. Okay. And that's when I was just mom, raising a family. Before doing all that, I married my husband, he was active duty Marine Corps at that time. So that's kind of where I started my hiatus, and it lasted a lot longer than I thought it would. And a lot has changed in my life since then. Sure. A lot of moving, but I feel like, I have a calling to this side of service, and inevitably I was just kind of drawn back into it. Really with paramedic school, I decided to do paramedic school a couple of years ago, and I did my paramedic internship with Mansfield Fire Rescue. Oh, wow, okay. That really just kind of ignited some embers for me that, had settled a long time ago when I was gone from everything, and I decided to go for it after that. I had just such a great experience with Mansfield Fire Rescue that I just kind of never looked back since then, so here I am.
So you said a couple times you got out of it and came back. Talk to me about before. Well, what did you do before? What was your introduction to it? You said it's kind of woven into your life. What does that mean?
So actually when I was a senior in high school, many moons ago, but this was just...
No, I'm many moons ago. You're a few moons ago.
Really is my senior year, so that was time of 9/11, just before all that happened. But this was all back in California, and to be honest, I got my start with Bakersfield Fire Department, and a really just great group of guys that really took me under their wing, helped guide me, open my eyes to what it's really like in the fire service, and then the other side of that coin, being a female in the fire service, where they were just very transparent with me and honest with me, and just helped push me along when I felt stuck in certain areas where I didn't know how to keep moving forward, just being so young and naive, and I really owe it to them from the beginning, and I've just been super fortunate through those years during my first fire academies and EMT school to always just have a group of guys or a few mentors in the fire service that have just always rooted for me, been by my side, and really that's kind of just kept my wheels going through the whole thing, and really gave me the encouragement after my hiatus to still want to come back. That purpose and that calling just really was there.
You call it a hiatus, but taking care of kids, having kiddos, that's more work than not being at work punching a clock, right? Right. Now, I don't want to make too big a deal out of this, but you've said, the guys here, the guys there, and the guys really took me under their wing. Like I said, I don't want to make too big a deal about it, but you're the only female firefighter in Mansfield right now. Is that weird for you? Tell me about that.
I would say it's not weird. I know being a female in the fire service isn't super popular, especially here out in Texas. It's very different. So I guess with that respect and just with that background, I never grew up with any female mentors, so maybe that's why it's not odd to me, because I've always had male mentors. I guess looking back on my experience, been different with a lot of female mentors in my life within the fire service. It would definitely be different, but since I've always had such a great experience with the male mentors in my life, it's always been a really natural transition for me.
Okay, well that's good. I was in the Army before I came here, and I was a military policeman, and so there were men and women in every unit that I was ever in. And this is no offense to my male counterparts, but the best leadership team I ever had was an all-female leadership team. I think they naturally more nurturing, make sure you got everything that you need, But we're really glad to have you. So tell me a little bit about your family. Whatever you want to share. If you're married to a Marine, then share what you can, right?
Yeah.
Speaks for itself.
No, I'm pretty fond of my husband. His name's Will. He's in the Marine Corps for 10 years, but that's where we got our start together. He's no longer active duty anymore, so now he's dad and husband, and I have 4 kids that are all great ages right now, which is kind of my reason for coming back into the fire service and EMS aspect after all these years. Just because it felt as me coming from the mother aspect of things that, you know what, my kids are getting older, they're able to handle this a little more maturely, where it's not so much a battle of the wills of mom's gone and crying. And,
sure.
Because that's just the reality of being a mom, a female, and I think as a first
boys or
responder.
girls?
Well, 3 boys and 1 girl.
3 boys and 1 girl. So the boys are the ones that cry when you leave, right?
It's actually my daughter. But,
really? Okay.
But she's the toughest of the bunch. But we're just the 6 of us, and kids are in sports and soccer and baseball, and just like any other family, we just keep going.
Oh, good. Yeah. If I had to ask you what your favorite things about Mansfield are working here, what would that be?
Well, I got my introduction on the fire side of things, so I'd say that's my favorite part. With that regard, in the fire service, what I love about it is the fact that we're pretty much family. We're just one big family. The guys that I work with, their families have become my family, and vice versa. So we really just take each other in. We're really there for each other. We certainly don't have, every day a perfect day, every day the Brady Bunch. That's not it at all. But we hold each other accountable. We demand the better sides of ourselves at all times, and we train till you can't get it wrong. And I love that aspect of that, because we're a strong support system. And, I think that different characters within each crew and shift and each department, but I think that it's a great balance where you have other guys in their unique ways reminding you your whys to why I'm still here, 20 years later, even though it's not, it wasn't my plan to take breaks and to have life change, but the only constant in life is change, and you're constantly
life
adapting.
happens.
Exactly. And I think that's why this service, the fire service, is a big draw to me. And going back to marrying my husband, who is active duty Marine Corps, living on base, it's just constant adaptation. And with that, there's a bit of that in the fire service too. So it's what I love about it. I love the guys like family, like brothers. It's a wonderful brotherhood to be a part of. I'm very blessed, and obviously there's a greater sisterhood within that as well.
Sure.
That's just as strong. But certainly the fire aspect is the best part for me being here, and just a great city. To be honest, Mansfield is a great city to work for. You guys have a big vision and mission for this one small city that continues to grow, and I think it's exciting that there's a lot to come, and yet y'all still want to keep community in the center of it all. And
right.
Coming from the service side of things, why we do what we do, it's great to still remember that we're still a community.
Yeah. So I asked you to prepare just for one question, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be a conversation. So, what is true north to you? And so for Amber, what does that mean?
True north, my reason as to why I do what I do in a nutshell. There's a lot that goes behind it. I think that could be true for anybody, but I think what keeps me centered in that is compassion and empathy for those that I serve, for the community that I serve, the people that I serve. That service is going to maintain whether I'm in Mansfield or Timbuktu. I'm still going to be who I am there as I am here. And with that compassion and empathy, because that is the whole backbone of why I came into this service to begin with at the very beginning, and my fresh 17-year-old eyes way back then, which is a big deal to me, because after a lot of years, I think in any role as a first responder, it's easy to get a hardened exterior per se, a
Sure.
little bit jaded. It's hard to remember your whys. It's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult showing up after a tough call. It goes back to family. But if I remember my why, that if I remember to have that compassion and that empathy through and through, no matter how difficult it is, because really at the end of the day, we're there on someone's worst day.
Yeah.
And if I remember to have that, it grounds me and remembers me like why I do what I do, and to keep pushing forward for others.
Yeah, that's the point where I probably would have tried to make today is, you guys are called to serve. All of you are called to serve, and you do all too often meet people on the worst day of their lives or the worst day of a loved one's life. And I love that your true north is to bring compassion to that. So
Sure.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you for meeting me here today.
You got it.
Thanks.